This week's episode is an holiday special, and we ask the community what you got on your wish list for the upcoming Christmas and holidays. And we got a bunch of very interesting answers. And for me, it was a very, very easy pick. And guess what? Santa came early to me this year. Gonna tell you all about it in today's episode.
Hey there, music makers. I'm Hayes Griffin.
I'm Magnus Hayes.
And welcome to Mandolin Secrets Live, a bi-weekly show where we take a deeper look at what's happening in the world of mandolin secrets. Each episode will tackle our question of the week, unpack the latest mandolin secrets lessons, and answer your questions about mandolin, guitar, and all things music. In this week's episode, we'll be discussing our question of the week. We've got a bit of a holiday theme going on here for you. So we're going to ask what is on your holiday wish list this year. Also going to tackle what guitar or mandolin case are you using. And then we're going to dive into that beautiful arrangement of Jingle Bells that Magnus just played for us, because that's the latest Mandolin Secrets Academy lesson there. But before we dive into this week's discussion and all that, be sure to head to mandolinsecrets.com/live to sign up for reminders about our upcoming streams. And if you can't tune in live, never fear. Just search Mandolin Secrets Live on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe to get updates when we release a new episode. What do you got going on there, Magnus? How's life, buddy?
It's doing very good. And I'm thinking now about this wish list thing that you were talking about. For me, it was actually a very easy pick, what I wanted on my wish list this year. And guess what? Santa came very early this year. He already been here visiting me. So I'm happy to tell all the listeners what that is all about.
Yeah.
And how are you, Hayes? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, my friend. Yeah, it's we were just talking before the call a little bit, coming up on the holidays. It's a busy time of year, but feeling great. Lots of good new lessons out in Mandolin Secrets Academy. I've been teaching at the college and having a good time there. We put our Christmas lights up the other day. It's just a beautiful time of year, man. I'm a happy guy. Yeah.
And I also know you were actually doing another live stream the other day. Tell us a little shortly who were your guests doing the other live stream?
Yeah. So we had a live stream the other day with Marcel Ardans. A lot of you folks out there know him from his YouTube channel, Lessons with Marcel. And that's actually going to be our next episode of Mandolin Secrets Live here on the podcast. So you'll get to know all about Marcel and what he does. But we got into a really cool discussion about transcribing music and bluegrass guitar and stuff like that. So I think there's going to be a lot of cool info out there for all you listeners.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that as well, because I didn't catch up on the live stream yet. But how do you know Marcel? What is the connection between you two?
Yeah, so the funny
there's
thing
an
is,
obvious connection. I can see bluegrass guitar, but
yeah. Well, it was kind of the funny thing is I got to knowing Marcel around the same time that you and I reconnected, and I started working with Mandolin Secrets. I was kind of revamping my website. This was early on in 2020, so like kind of the early days of the pandemic. And I was retooling my website and looking at YouTubers for how they were kind of setting stuff up. And I emailed Marcel and was like, hey, your website looks really great. What plugins are you using and stuff like that? And he responded almost immediately. And then we just kind of have kept in touch ever since and become YouTuber buddies and stuff like that. So,
okay. So it's an online friend.
Yeah, we had the chance to meet him in person for the first time at IBMA in Raleigh, North Carolina this past year. We ran into each other. I thought I recognized him. It was hard because everyone had their masks on, you know? But I was like, I think that's Marcel over there.
That's
so,
cool.
Yeah, we got to meet in person, and that was really neat.
And I think both you and me, being in the online space now for quite a while, we have a lot of these online friends, don't we? That it's going to be such a great time when you actually have a chance to meet in person to pick a tune and hang out.
Exactly. No, I almost feel that way about you, man. It's like we met that one time back in Sweden, and then our relationship has just developed more on Skype.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way we're doing business.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but let's go into this question about what's on the wish list. And well, I already have had a little what is you call it, a cliffhanger there, but let's start in the other end. What came from the community members? What's on their wish list?
So there were some really good things that popped up in the community here. John from Michigan says he wants an octave mandolin, and I have a nagging suspicion that that's after he watched a bunch of your octave mandolin lessons and things like that. So
I'm a big advocate of the octave mandolin, so it might be some.
It's on my list for one of these days too. But octave mandolin was good. And honestly, the funny thing is the most common answer that I saw on the question of the week was people wanted to buy lessons for themselves for this holiday season. So they're giving themselves the gift of knowledge. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yes. I guess we're also, what is this? That says a lot about our community, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah. People who are in it to kind of grow as musicians and stuff like that.
And that is really what both you and me are preaching also. I mean, because there's a lot of players who think like gear and equipment will be their bridge to their next level, sort of. Or is bridge a good word?
Yeah, bridge is a great word.
Yeah. But as we're preaching for the choir here, or how they say it. But I mean, as our community knows, the way to get ahead is to get some good input, do the work, and be patient and have fun along the way. And so investing in ourselves with good education and all that's really,
I think that's one of the best gifts that you can buy yourself. And honestly, like if I'm going to give my personal answer for my wish list this year, that was actually mine for this year too. I've and people out there, this is one thing that I want everyone to know. Like just because Magnus and I are the quote teachers or like whatever on Mandolin Secrets, we're still learning too, right, Magnus?
Yeah.
So I bought myself, I scheduled 2 lessons already with Don Sternberg, the legendary jazz mandolin player. So I'm going to get together with Don and maybe convince him to hop on the podcast with us here one of these times.
Hello, cat.
Yeah, you can hear my kitty in the background. Pickles.
So are you going to see Don in person or is it online?
So we're going to do some Skype lessons first, like online, and then I think once maybe the weather gets a little better. He lives up in Chicago, and that's a bit of a drive for me, but I would love to go visit him and get some in-person time to kind of jam on some jazz tunes. Man. For those of you that don't know out there, Don was kind of the protege of the late Jethro Burns. So if jazz mandolin is something that you're interested in and into, then Don is definitely a guy to check out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really proud of you, Hayes, taking like action like that. I'm proud of you, and I also envy you for having the chance to do it. And I mean, sounds perfect.
Yeah, well, thanks, man. I appreciate you saying that.
Actually, staying a little bit on this subject, one thing that's been on my mind here for the last month or so, I actually would like to have a few lessons from Evan Marshall to check his duo style thing.
Yes.
Because now that I'm very, I can talk a little bit more about this presenting the Jingle Bells arrangement, but I'm at the moment I'm thinking a lot about like arranging for solo mandolin and things like that, and I don't have the tool in my toolbox with the duo style, but I think it would be very nice to add it, and I can't think of a better person to actually get some input from than him.
I totally agree with you on that. I am a huge fan of Evan's style, and I think he does lessons online and stuff too.
Yes,
So
I've seen.
I think that wouldn't be far out of reach for you, my friend.
No, it would actually be, and yeah. So that's now that you said it, and you actually has executed on it, even reaching out to a guy like Don. This gives me a kick in the bottom to, or what do you say? Yeah, you get
yeah, exactly. That's it, man.
To get into it also. For the wish list, what I did put to my wish list, I remember, I think this could have been like a month ago that we posted this to the community, something like that, and at that point I said it was an easy pick for me. What I want for Christmas is 50 new members to the guitar club, because we were at that point planning to officially open up the guitar club of Mandolin Secrets. We did it, and we got 50 new members. So Santa came early to me, and I'm really glad that, because we put a lot of time and effort into building the membership and all the, well, making it a good atmosphere for people that want to like improve their bluegrass, folk, and flat picking guitar. And all that was missing in there was a bunch of members, and now we even got them. So I think it's looking very promising what we got. How do you feel about the guitar club?
I feel so great. That's actually, I'm glad that you brought this up and that we can talk about this now, because opening the guitar club, like you said, it's been it feels like a long time in preparation, and it feels very gratifying to have all of those people in there. And it just kind of filled my sails, you know what I mean? To kind of start to interact with all of these folks. There was a lot of activity in our community, everyone introducing themselves. We got people from all over the world, right? Like Czech Republic, Germany, Sweden, United States, all over. So it's really cool to just kind of see the community come to life after putting all of that effort into building these lessons, because I think you and I talk about this. It's weird, you like build this house, right? And then just like no one's in it, and you're like, you don't know how people are going to react to the lessons. But I feel like we've been getting a lot of good feedback, and it's really nice to finally have that off the ground.
Yeah. And yes, and as I said, I'm very happy about it. Santa came early. And since it's Christmas time, I've also been working on some Christmas music for the community and for myself even. And I prepared this Jingle Bells arrangement. And here's also a little bit of background for me doing the work with this one. There was one of the members who reached out to me, and she was like, because I did a lesson covering how to play Silent Night in a chord melody style, and she was really disappointed about the way I have notated it, because she played like it was notated sort of, and it didn't came out in the way that she could see me performing it. And I had a discussion with her. Paula was her name, and I also said that I kind of liked a little bit of an more basic version for when making the notation, and then I think it's easier to learn that way, and the other parts of it is almost like a little bit of an improvisation, how we are arpeggiating the chords, or how it's more in the way of performing sort of than actually learning it.
Exactly, like that stuff that just kind of spontaneously comes out in the moment, right? As opposed to yeah.
And it's easier also for me to teach that way, I think, with the basic. But and I had a discussion with her, and she also pointed out that she really thinks there's a big opportunity for good mandolin arrangements. It's not that much out there. And I realized, because I was going back to the Silent Night lesson and the notation, and she was absolutely right. I thought I could actually make a more detailed version here also that could be beneficial for the students. So when doing the Jingle Bells, I was laying out the arrangements completely, notated note by note, sort of, and then I also were performing it that way. So even the method was different for me, and I realized also it was I was like developing out of this really as an arranger of mandolin music, sort of. Really being aware of, do I play the arpeggio? I'd grab the mandolin so I
Yeah, please. No, I think I mean people would love to hear this.
If I'm referring to Silent Night now. Silent Night, right? And I just that little phrase, I found I find a number of ways that I can play it. Something like that, or even and Paula like made me aware that I need to develop my ability for making these arrangements and performing them to teach them better. So for Jingle Bells, I kind of, that's exactly what I did. I spent a lot of time making a very playable arrangement that's not complicated, but also with all these details of using the cross-picking things that you actually helped me develop. And a bit of the chord melody style that Aaron Weinstein helped me develop that thing. So it's a mix of these things, but in a way that hopefully will be manageable for an intermediate player. I'm talking a lot now, but
I think keep going, buddy. This is great stuff, though.
Okay.
I love the kind of thing that you're saying here. You know, it's like taking feedback from a student and like using that to kind of hone your craft to teach better and to be a better player and arranger and all this stuff. You know, that's kind of what we're getting at here, right?
Yes, and it really connects what you were saying in the very beginning here, that both you and me are, even though we're instructors, we're still learning all the time. And I sometimes was kind of again rediscovering that teaching is almost the best learner.
Yes. I had a great teacher in high school, like when we were taking calculus, which I don't remember anything about, so don't ask me any calculus questions. But when we were taking calculus, the thing was, he's like, you don't understand this stuff until you can teach it to someone else. Like if you, right? So it's like we would have to tutor some of the lower level students, and with the idea that would help us hone our skills. And I think it was totally true.
I think that was exactly what Paula made me aware of. I was trying to teach this in a more simplified way because I wasn't ready to teach it in a more advanced way because of my own limitations, sort of. So it's going to be an interesting period now, like rediscovering this. And I even made a new notation for Silent Night that I want to share with the community. I call it like a detailed chord melody style now, with everything written out. And so I will also reach out to Paula to see if is this the kind of thing that she's more looking for. But at least it's a great journey for me.
Yeah. It sounds like the members have everything to benefit from this kind of case study regardless, so that's good stuff.
Exactly. I'm going to let's listen to this arrangement a little bit. And I'm going to play it for almost 1.5 minutes, I think, so that people can hear. There's an intro, there's the verse, there's the chorus, and even a little bridge there. So we're going to play it back. Here is Jingle Bells, little performance video. And as I said, for this one, the notation is exactly like I'm playing it. Here it comes. Yeah, that's actually the whole arrangement.
I'm so glad that you played that because that is easily my new favorite version of that tune. So great work on it, my friend. Yeah.
Thanks. Glad to hear that. And if anyone is interested, you can find the notation in Mandolin Secrets Academy. So go check it out. And I'm pretty sure that and even on YouTube, you can find the video. And I'm pretty sure you will share up the holidays for your friends and family, playing a little bit of Jingle Bells for them.
Especially, and if for those of you that are listening to the audio version of this, you didn't get to see the awesome sweater that Magnus was wearing in this too. Yes. So please go check it out on YouTube so you can see that. Yeah. Is that where did that come from? Because that is an awesome sweater. I love that.
It's like a Norwegian handicraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother did see the video, and I said, "Hey, is that the sweater that I bought to you in Rörus in 1995?" It is actually. I had it since I was, or 96 maybe it was, when my dad and my parents went to Norway, like a car holiday, or what do you call it there. They got me and my sister one of this traditional lusekofta from Norway. And I still have it.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, well, I'm going to have to make a trip to Norway so I can get one.
Yeah. I thought it was... Well, I also put a little star into my studio, you can see.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you pointed that out. I wouldn't have noticed that. That's great, man. It's all the details. You were talking about putting details in the arrangement, but I mean, we're talking about, the star, the sweater. You've got, you took Paula's feedback really seriously here, right?
Yeah. Yes,
that's funny, man.
It's funny. There's one more question. We got question of the week that we want to go into. It was. Can you repeat the question once more? So one of the questions. I was about to say what? No, sorry. What instrument case do you want on your wish list? But it wasn't that. No.
Yeah, no, it was exactly that. It was what guitar or mandolin case are you using right now?
That's it, yeah.
And that was kind of that's one that I always toss out periodically. For a lot of you that are monitoring the community, I'm going to reveal a big secret right now. Sometimes I ask questions just because I want to know what the new thing is that I maybe don't know about. You know what I mean? So it's what cases are going on. But we had a lot of feedback on that one because there are obviously a lot of different case manufacturers and stuff like that out there. But a lot of folks... they were using Guardian cases, TKL cases, which are pretty standard. The Hiscox case was pretty popular, I remember. And then there's the ones, for those of you that are on the stream right now, you'll be able to see this, but my Carlton mandolin case, that was a pretty popular option.
I remember you had a Carlton case when we met, but maybe you borrowed that one because it was also a borrowed instrument.
It was actually, did I have my mandolin with me at that point in time? Or was it just guitar?
You had your mandolin borrowed, Red Diamond, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So that would have been, it was the exact same model of Carlton that I have right here, only it was in, Bumblebee yellow, they call it. I would have guessed. Yeah.
Funny things that you remember, right?
Right? And the stuff that pops into the back of your mind. And that's actually the reason that I bought my guitar case, which I showed you before the call. It's the same Bumblebee yellow color, but my buddy Jacob Hawkins, who apprenticed with Don McRosty, the Red Diamond builder, inspired me to get something bright and colorful.
Yeah, cool. But so that's your main cases, right?
Those are my main cases, and there was kind of naturally this case discussion in the thread steered off into this topic for a minute. Who needs one of those kind of cases versus some of the other cases that exist out there, and I'm pretty a big proponent of the fact that 99% of people can get away with the $200 case that comes with your instrument, or your, like I said, your Guardians or your TKLs, those kind of cases. But this one's mostly for flying and travel. If you're knocking stuff around and it has to sit with the gear in the back of the van, the Carlton cases. And I also have a Hoffy case is the brand name.
I heard about it. For the guitar or for a mandolin?
I've got a guitar case for mine, but one of my good friends, Maddie Whitler, had a Hoffy mandolin case that I kind of coveted for quite some time. But those are carbon fiber, so there are all these kind of high-end, interesting travel cases.
I've seen some players in Sweden having both Carlton cases, but also this. I really like that one. Hoffy,
I think the Hoffy they're both, I think, equally as good in terms of protection of your instrument, but the Hoffy case is really cool looking, and
Yeah.
the carbon fiber really kind of shows cool in the light and stuff like that.
So my main case for my mandolin, I use like an Eastman plastic case. They're very
Those
cheap.
are great.
Well, they are. It's very, very lightweighted. I mean, I would never like check it in on a flight or anything like that. But I mean, I've been flying a lot with my mandolin, and I always had a chance to bring it like into the cabin. So
I think that's mandolin. You're pretty safe that way,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
it can usually fit into the overheads, and
yeah,
I've had some very stern flight attendants try to tell me that they would need to check my mandolin, and I was like, no, let me just I can show you, I can check it up here,
Yeah.
If you're polite, they usually go with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good call to always try to do that, right?
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's very. I'm using it because it's very lightweighted and slim, sort of. I
like
guess
a low profile.
Yeah, very low profile, and I'm not carrying anything. And that could be a con also, because there's no room. There's no like room to put your stuff, your tuner, and things like that. It's very slim.
Yeah.
But I kind of I got I got the A style for my flat top and the F style for my Phoenix. But I mean, they're decent cases, I think. But
I think so too. I've seen a lot of people buy those specifically for what you're talking about, the like lightweight aspect of it.
And it's still it's still protected, so I could put it in the trunk of a car with another bag on top of it, for example. I mean, it will take some pressure, sort of.
Yeah, but maybe not 50 suitcases on top of it, right?
No. Like the Colton, for example, or
yeah.
So, and for my guitars, I really like the Hiscox cases, because they are very. I mean, not the most hardest shell, but I mean they are very well protected in those cases.
I've heard
Actually,
that they were kind of the original inspiration for this modern trend of like travel flight cases. Like Hiscox was kind of one of the original ones, and I think as far as like cost to protection ratio, you know what I mean? It's like the best value, like too, because
I would agree.
A Hiscox
actually
isn't like $900. They're much cheaper than like a Colton case, for example.
Yeah, they're probably $200.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they are, and I think, and they are not awfully heavy even. So if you're carrying it, I think it's, but I think still Colton is better protection, of course.
It's like the tank of cases,
tank,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's heavy artillery or whatever, Yeah, I wouldn't suggest this, but I didn't have my guitar in it because I was just making a point. But the first time I got my Colton case, I stood on top of it and jumped up and down
to try
for one of my friends. Yeah, I told him that one of my guitars was in there. He was like, "No," he started freaking out. Yeah, but they took it.
Yeah, that's how they are presenting it in the commercial, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're the same thing for the Hiscox, actually. They're like the whole Hiscox crew is standing on top of the case or something like that.
Good marketing tactics, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's and for the guitars, I'm very fond of having a gig bag only with my guitar whenever I have a chance. So I got.
Do you use a specific gig bag for yours? Do you have like a good brand that you would recommend for that?
It's actually a Swedish, like handmade.
Nice.
Yeah. And he's making mostly for instruments that are like in uneven shapes, like octave, like citherns, nyckelharpas, things like that. But of course, you can make a guitar case gig bag also, and but that one is very slim sort of, but very convenient to carry on the back. So it's got proper. So
That's something I'm envious of. I've been looking at like I think Reunion Blues is one of the bigger ones that people use here. That's my Christmas wish list is very long, but that's down toward the bottom of the Christmas wish list. It's a good guitar gig bag for the same reasons.
I met a guy like a couple of weeks ago that ordered an Cedar Canes gig bag from the guy who kind of left Reunion Blues, sort of doing his own thing. Like he's like taking custom orders, doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I would be interested to know who that guy is.
I can ask my friend about the name, but maybe it's only a Google search away. But because I don't remember, but it reminded of the Reunion Blues sort of, but you can get it in any like leather style and that sort of stuff. So really, probably the most fancy gig bag I ever seen.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Is yours leather? I guess I didn't ask what material it was.
No, it's yeah. It's not, and I have no. In Swedish, we call it bäver nylon. That is like beaver nylon.
Nylon, yeah.
Yeah, it's
so it's like a synthetic kind of thing.
Synthetic, yeah. Actually, with some leather details, so it's. But it's made for my Collins OM, so it's very like slim, sort of, and nice. Yeah. So with the small parlor guitars, it's a little bit big, but I mean, I even carry my octave mandolin in this case because it's so convenient to carry. Yeah. I did get an gig bag for my octave mandolin also, and my citern, but that one, well, we can talk about crap things here, can't we? Without.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we getting into like slander and libel laws here, you know?
But this was, I think it was access cases. Could it be that? And it looked nice. It was, but I mean, to carry it was so bad balanced. You couldn't like, and I think a good gig bag you want to carry, it would feel good carrying it. Otherwise, there's no point.
Of course, if it's backpack bad straps, right?
Yes, you know, like exactly. So there was backpack straps, but it was like sitting too low, so it was bouncing when I walked, and so I couldn't use it, and I actually got rid of it.
Oh man, yeah.
But and it was also like $150 gig bag, so it was, but no, not for me.
Yeah, it's not cheap for sure. You know, if you're going to spend that much coin on a gig bag, you want it to feel good and not hit you in the back of the head or whatever when you're walking down the street.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, but it's part of being a music maker, carrying your instruments. I mean, how many miles have we carried these instruments?
Oh man! So the first gig that I had, like the road gig, April Virch, when I was over visiting you in Sweden, that was I lost 90 pounds in weight from like that for the first 2 years that I was out there, and I was exercising, doing some like lifestyle changes too. But I'm convinced carrying 2 Carlton cases, like throughout all the venues and the gigs, you know, like that definitely burns some extra calories.
That's workout. Yeah, and but I found it just now then, because I've been on my first tour in 2 years, and I was like kind of reminded of how much of this work is traveling and carrying things, and so it's I'm feeling kind of good actually being home in the studio now.
We always used to joke that musicians are actually paid movers, and we just get to play music for an hour every night.
Yes, every now and then.
Yeah, like we just get paid to drive places and move stuff,
Yeah. There's some truth in that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be lighthearted about it, right?
Yes. Okay, I think this actually is gonna wrap up the Christmas episode. So for everyone and anyone out there listening, wish you a Merry Christmas and hope you're having a good time with family and friends. Something you wanna tell the listeners before we're wrapping up this days?
I just want to echo everything that you said, Magnus. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that stuff. This has been a great year for Mandolin Secrets. I think I can say for both of us, right, Magnus?
Yes.
And we really appreciate having all of you in our community. And I always like to use the end of the year as like a time for reflection and kind of gratitude for all the things that have come into my life. And I'm definitely grateful for you, Magnus, and the rest of the Mandolin Secrets community. So thanks everyone for entertaining us and being with us on this journey. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much, folks. And also a little reminder, we always end the episodes with this one. Remember, be a music maker.